Welcome to Talksicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation.
So welcome to Talksicology, greatest podcast, as Joseph would say, in the known universe about addiction, mental health, recovery. First and foremost, I would say recovery first. Talk a lot about skateboarding, talk a lot about music, talk a lot about other stuff. So welcome. Joseph is on vacation this week once again. So I got to bring in a homie who's you're the record holding for return guest. This is your third.
Really?
Your third time on Talksicology. And I'm glad you with the special occasion, you're chewing gum. That makes for great podcast.
You like that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good, especially if you go. Right,
wait, is it loud? Should I take it out?
You could take it out. Yeah.
Okay. Or I could put it like this, like I'm dipping.
You could do that. That works.
That look cool.
That look really cool. So welcome. Third time is a charm here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So Carlos Truan, Austin, Texas.
That's right.
World famous.
I don't know.
World renowned.
I don't know about any of that.
Tattoo artist, tattooer, tattooist. What do you go with? What do you say? If somebody asks, what do you do? What do you say?
Magician, clown, professional clown.
Professional clown.
Yeah.
Amateur tattooer.
Amateur.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd beg to differ looking at knowing how far ahead that you're scheduled. But man in recovery, one of our first in-person guests here, good friend of mine. We don't get to hang out as much as I'm sure we would both like, or at least I don't know if that's one-sided or not. I'd like to hang out more, but we're busy people. We got full lives, and I think recovery has a lot to do with it. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. No, thanks for coming back. I know,
Yeah. It's fun to chat and talk about. I love talking about recovery. So,
yeah.
This
is the place for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you been?
I'm good. Yeah. Busy with life,
Right.
Just everything. So
since the last time we came, last time you've been on the show,
okay,
you've opened up a new shop.
I opened up a second shop. Yes.
And where's this at?
It's still here in Austin on pretty central North Loop. Are you familiar?
Oh yeah. You're in the North Loop area?
Yes.
Oh, I love that area. I go to the video store there all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes, it's right across the street from there.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, they actually do. So it was an accident.
Whoops, I opened a tattoo shop.
No, I swear it was a total accident. I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened. We were on our way. A friend of mine, an old friend of mine, opened a coffee shop, and they had a bunch of room back there. They had they have like a coffee shop, taco shop.
Oh yeah,
backyard situation.
Yeah,
and it's
the
like
vegan
20 tables. It's not vegan anymore.
Okay.
It's half and half now.
Okay.
I had already been by to see when they were like building it out, and I was like, oh, this is too small. I thought maybe I would move my shop if it was bigger and a better situation or whatever. But fast forward, he called me again and said, he was like, hey, we really, like, if you want to do something, like, let's do something. And I thought, he's like, we want something cool back here.
Right.
There's an extra little house or whatever.
Little storefront.
Yeah. Well, it's not a storefront because it's behind. It's in the backyard.
Or back.
Yeah. So I went by, and anyways, I ended up, I got a good deal on it. But I had to do all the renovation.
Okay.
It was like a shell basically. And I didn't realize how crazy it was going to be. And I was actually, Kat and I were on our way, me, Kat, and our son Cheyenne were on our way to Europe for a month, traveling and working.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was all kind of being done while I was gone. But like I said, I really didn't mean to. Like I went by and I thought maybe I would just do like a boutique or something like this.
Right,
and like
right.
sell art, other people's art, like buy stuff or do like a commission type
gallery
situation.
stuff.
Cause it's a rad space. Like, and then right when I got there, I was like, man, it had this like really cool yard, and I get this little side yard that's like a private side yard thing.
And you get vegan tacos whenever you want.
And yeah. And I was like, man, I mean, the first question I asked, I was like, I wonder if I could have a meeting here. And he was like, dude, you can literally do whatever you want. So I was like, okay.
Ooh, yeah.
So
talking about that.
I mentioned to you that when I saw you the other day, I don't know when or how or what. Like I still need to kind of. My main focus was getting the shop ready because I had people showing up to work. Another thing was that my shop was so small.
We're talking about Communion, which is
My shop.
a private tattoo studio.
It's a private shop, yeah.
But
it's appointment only.
Open to the public, but it's not like a walk-in shop. You just
Right.
can't walk in and get a Tasmanian devil on your butt cheek.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's just how it's set up. Everyone there works by appointment.
Right.
That's who works there. That's who's, and you've seen the space. It's small. The other shop is even smaller, but there's a huge courtyard.
Right.
So
that you share with the restaurant.
Yeah. And then I have my own little side area. I haven't put too much effort into that little side area. It's probably the same size as the shop, but I need to get like outdoor furniture and stuff. My main goal was to get it to where the shop would be up and running. So it's been open for a month. People have been working there since October. Since we got back from Europe, but it's all been guests that are traveling from, everywhere.
Wherever.
Yeah. The first girl was here from Italy. She was really rad.
So that's cool. It's
we have a lot of people that come through, and I don't have room. I have one guest station at Communion,
right,
where I work, and then now we have another guest station there, so I'm able to host more people.
That's awesome.
Which I love doing.
Really cool. So people could travel.
People can travel. Yeah. We get to, meet and chat and, see their work. It's usually people that I like their work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And let's start a meeting there.
Seriously, I want to do something. I'm going to do something.
You know what we should do? Set a time, and we can make it official right here. Set a day, a time, even if we just start
we don't,
meeting for coffee outside there for an hour and then have it grow organically. I think that's the best way to do it, because that way you're just like, all right, I'm going to commit to this and then just let it grow, instead of trying to go the whole route of, well, let me see when everybody's going to be available and what's the best time for all my friends.
So the thing is if you do it like that, I've noticed in the past, so I've tried to do stuff like that, it's hard to separate being with your buds with no format and just like, oh man, did you see that? That
turn into a skate
whatever
conversation.
There's a skate conversation or
right. Okay,
a bunch of goofing off. Like if
fair.
There's no format, that's how I am, and that's what I've seen happen too in the past.
Set a format. Be like, bring a piece of everybody.
Yeah.
If it's going to start off small, but I mean, this is your spot, so I'm not going to try to take it over. But I am down, because my meeting attendance has been boop. I have been terrible with doing any 12-step meetings here. I go to more meetings when I visit home in Florida, because I just feel like that's where I got clean. So I feel like, more connected there. Because I moved to Austin, Texas in 2020, right before COVID, and all the meetings shut down. So I never feel like I really hooked in to the 12-step community for the purpose of going for my own personal recovery. Because, I work at Recovery Unplugged. So most of the people that I work with are in recovery and do meetings.
Right.
They do a different fellowship. But I am a firm believer that if you work in the treatment world, to keep your recovery completely separate from that, because I've noticed for myself that I would make that my recovery for some time, and then it was just like there's no separation between what I'm doing for work and then what I'm doing for myself. But so yeah, I'm ratting on myself here and saying like my meeting attendance has been terrible.
Yeah, mine too.
I'm only sponsoring one guy who lives out in New York.
Oh shit.
You know, and he's killing it. So, and you know, and I had been his sponsor since.
So that means you're killing it too.
Well, I've only had because I don't, you know, I work NA, so our going through the 12 steps is a minimum year process, and that's a hard thing to compete with in Texas, which is so big book based. So if I'm sponsoring a guy who is in halfway and sober living, and I'm having them read for 30 days, and the guy sleeping next to him, they went through treatment at the same time, and he's already on step 5 and sponsoring guys, and this guy's still on step 1. It's a hard thing to convince somebody like, hey, come on, you know, because you know how it is, like when you get out of treatment, and it makes sense. Like, you want to hit the ground running. You don't want to, you know, you're on fire. It's like, okay, let's go. Yeah. Now read this every day for 30 days, and if you miss a day, start over. But that's the way I get sponsored, so I have to keep that tradition. So good, bad, or indifferent. That's the way it works for me. And yeah, so my one sponsee lives in New York. Shout out Nick. He is he's finishing up law school. And you know, I started sponsoring him right out of treatment. Yeah. And then another guy who I sponsored, Billy, shout out Billy. I'm not sponsoring anymore, but we went through the full 12 steps together. And then that was the only one who I've ever sponsored anybody through the steps completely. But now just the one, and I you know, I need to get more. My H&I commitment's gone now. They pulled it. They didn't want NA people in there. What
did they want?
It was very like, you know, I won't mention the name of the place so I can get into the politics of it, but very big book based treatment center.
But you brought you were doing service.
Yeah, we brought NA H&I in there, and it was a long-term treatment center. So I mean, the people were there for a minimum of 90 days, and the clients seemed to love it. You know, every time we went there, like, we got a lot of positive feedback, but the management was very, we don't want you drug addicts in here. Oh, shit. Like, these are alcoholics.
Okay.
Who may have done some dry substances, but they're alcoholics.
Shit. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, for those
alcoholics only?
You know, that's one of the things that I never understood about certain 12s. It's hard to not get, it's political.
Yeah, you might as well just not even.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause listen, I met a lot of the wrong people going to AA meetings at first, and definitely rubbed me the wrong way. But AA has saved more lives of people that I care for and respect. That, like, you know, I know it's not.
I got sober in AA.
Yeah.
And then I went to a CA meeting.
Right.
And then I was like, which is the same book or whatever, you know?
Right. Just change the words around.
Yeah. And I didn't feel comfortable. I've never fully felt, you know, 100% like in that group, or like I was always kind of like a little bit walking on eggshells. You know what I mean?
Was it because you couldn't like really talk about it?
Well, and not that I need to talk about it, right?
Right.
But just like if it came out, you know what I mean? I felt bad, and you know, it's like.
Well, this was always my thing that rubbed me wrong, because it's like, you know, we don't mention it's not about the substance, but you have to say that it was this one substance.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't, that never like I understand what you're saying, and I understand your singleness of purpose and all that, but
I get it. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it. I love it all. Recovery is recovery wherever you find it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. I go to AA still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's your meeting attendance been?
Pretty bad.
So you still go to AA, but you don't go to meetings?
I mean, when I do go, the closest one is like right across the street from my house, and it's AA.
And you just moved to a new area, so I'm sure it's That's always tough when you upend and move somewhere, and even if it's not that far, it takes away, especially with you with a young kid, with multiple businesses going on. If you have a routine and then something breaks it, I'm sure it's really difficult to work something else back in.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, because you're a busy, regimented man.
Yeah.
Tell me about what a busy, regimented man you are. What is a day? An average? Do you have an average day?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Let's hear it. Break
you
it down.
Want to hear the whole thing?
Yeah. Wake up. What time do you go? What time?
5.
Okay.
Yeah, like it actually it kind of, it's always been like 5:30, and now it somehow has switched to 5. I'm like, oh man,
you
what
need
is
an extra
happening?
half hour before.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah,
you know,
I love
it's pretty amazing. I don't know where I saw something the other day, something about the 5 a.m. club or something like this. You heard this?
Yeah,
and I was like, oh shit, I'm in this club now by accident.
Yeah, I'm up making coffee for the 5 a.m. club.
Yeah,
I am. It's ridiculous.
You're kind of flexing right now.
You're
kind of showing off. I'm like, I wake up at 5, and you're like, I make your coffee.
I do.
I've already had coffee. Yeah.
But it's it's not sustainable, because then there's some days when I just have, my body won't even let me get up anymore.
I had a meeting with this new bookkeeper, and she asked me, it was 9, and she was like, okay, you ready? Do you have it's a Zoom meeting. She says, do you have your coffee and do you have all your paperwork and your coffee? And I was like, bro,
this is midday for me.
I was like, I already had a cup of coffee like
5 hours ago.
4 hours ago. Yeah. So I wake up 5:30. It's been 5 lately, and I like it. I'm going to stay with it. I hope I don't use an alarm clock. It just happens.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing every day. I wake up, I leave the bedroom, I brush my teeth and wash my face. I make a cup of coffee. I hit the play button or the on button or whatever. And I walk over to another room in the house and I pray. I pray, and then I meditate for about, nothing crazy. I'm not like, it is the most consistent thing in my life that I've ever had. But I know some people that they hit 20 minutes, 25 minutes in the morning and at night. I do maybe 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes or something. I used to use a timer, but, and then, I go grab my coffee and I sit down, I write a little bit. I write down a list for the day. I write down I say 5, but I write down a few things that I'm grateful for.
Okay.
Gratitude list, to-do list.
A gratitude list, yeah, a to-do list. And then by that time, I need to start kind of getting ready to either eat something or get my son's food, right? Getting Cheyenne's food ready.
Right.
I love making him breakfast. So, I usually make him some breakfast, try to feed him depending on how he wakes up. One day he wakes up and he hates me and loves his mom. And then the next day it's he loves me and hates his mom.
Right.
Not really, but he's just I don't want you. I want my dad.
No,
I don't want you. I want my mom,
Yeah.
So get him sorted out, get him dressed, get him to school. And then I go to the gym. Okay. Yeah. I go to the gym. I work out for maybe an hour, hour and a half. If I'm lucky, hour and a half. Usually if there's time between gym and taking him to school or in the morning, after I write out my list, if there's still enough time, excuse me, I will usually draw a little bit if I didn't finish drawing from the night before. And then I come home, shower, get ready, and pack pack a lunch if I can, if I have time. If I'm not like, usually by then I'm kind of like stressing to get out of the house.
Right.
And haul ass to work. And then, yeah. And all the while I'm usually on the phone or texting. Doing something, like taking care of something.
Businesses.
Yeah. Stuff.
So besides the tattoo shop, you still have your pigment company, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a pigment company that, we make black and gray, we make shades of black.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I've gotten the one tattoo by you where you used it, and it still looks great.
It didn't fall out?
No,
it
looks good. Yeah, I'll put a picture up in the on here so people can see.
I think we did that last time.
I love that tattoo.
Oh, good.
One of my favorites.
Awesome.
I need to get some more work by you.
Yeah, so I go to work and get set up. I work till about, I used to work until about 7 or 8, and now I want to be done by 6. Yeah, I want to be done by 6 because I want to be home for
your kid,
Cheyenne, and then there's and then 2 days a week I have my daughter, so I usually cut it a little bit shorter on those days.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty picture perfect life. Could you imagine?
Really?
Could you? It does.
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess it does. For me, I feel like it's like I'm just like from the morning until the night.
Right?
It's like I'm just like go go go. The most peace that I have, I feel like, is in the morning when I do my routine.
That's why I get up so early.
When I get to the shop before my appointment gets there,
I start stressing out once I see the clock hit around the time that, like, once I see it's like an hour away from when the emails and the phone calls are going to start, or when Gabby gets up, because I work from home. We both work from home. So like once I see that and like the dogs start perking up right around the time before Gabby gets up, because they know, but like my dogs even know, like if it's before 8 o'clock, don't even lift your head up. Yeah. Like if you see me come downstairs, like my one little dog, he'll like kind of look up and I'm like, nope. And he'll just go right back down. And I'm like, don't even bother me for the next couple hours. Because I either go to the gym, or now I have a garage in my new house where, I could do some jump rope, do a little bit of
get something
in.
Yeah.
And I've actually found it to be a little bit more, I'm getting a little bit more out of it if I'm doing it from home now. So I think I'm going to start building out a little home spot for myself. So
yes,
because it's great to just like roll out of bed, do my meditation and stuff, which I do 20 minutes. I'm not trying to flex on you.
Yeah.
And then it's such a good feeling to be able to do that. Just roll in, because right afterwards I'm so pumped up, and then I could get more work done before like before the real work starts. Like I could get some editing done. I could get all my stuff that takes a little bit of creativity, because it's like I feel it, I feel it flowing. I have some good energy in.
Yeah.
I did it. And if I go to the gym and then come back, I'm dealing with the drive home. I'm dealing with the getting home, and then the dogs and all this stuff. So I'm finding it more beneficial to do it, stuff like that. So I might.
I'm better in the morning at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because I used to be such a night owl. That's one of the things that I learned about myself in recovery. It's just like,
you're not a night owl.
I am like 10:01 and I'm like ready to go to bed.
For sure.
But because I used to work nightclubs. Like I worked in nightclubs and around that whole scene for decades. So I mean, getting home from work at like 7, 8 in the morning was, if I wasn't partying, if I wasn't doing the after party, which I usually was. So, I mean, getting off work at like 7, 8 in the morning was my usual. And, I don't think I was cut out for it. But so let's talk about what your schedule was like before. Let's go back. What do you got? You got 11 years now? 10 years now?
It's like almost 12 years.
Almost 12 years.
Well, I'm sorry. I think it's 11 and a half.
11 and a half.
In July, it'll be 12 years.
Sick.
Yeah.
What was your routine like before that?
Shit.
Because I mean, you I think that's one of the reasons that you and I kind of clicked, is like you used like I used, if not beyond how I use, but I think we would have gotten along together
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
back then too if we weren't trying to rip each other off.
Yeah. As I was to say, yeah. I
yeah.
would have robbed your ass.
I know, I would have robbed you too. With a smile.
Yeah.
But
stole it from you and then helped you look for it.
yeah, dude, oh man. So that is one of my favorite adages about what a junkie is.
Yeah.
Like, I would steal from you and then help you look for it.
100%.
It's so embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, man. I did all the stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I woke up whenever. I hardly slept. Someone just asked me yesterday. We were looking at some meme or it was like a short that I had sent him.
Right.
And it's like a meth head or something. And he was like, he asked me, he says, did you used to be like that? Because he doesn't do anything. He knows me as I am now.
Right.
You know, he doesn't know me from back then. And I said, oh man, I was like, I mean, I would not sleep for so long.
Yeah.
You know? Granted, I mean, I was on, I was mainly a heroin addict, but I don't know. As I got older, I think that dope made me, it like kind of gave me a jolt.
Same here.
And when I smoked crack, I would fucking nod out.
Dude, I could take a nap. I could smoke crack and like
it was
take a nap.
I don't know what happened at the end.
You might have ADHD.
Yeah.
Because that
big time.
Yeah, because I mean that's what when you get prescribed Adderall or stuff like that. Have you ever seen what the ingredients for Adderall are? Amphetamine.
It's amphetamine, right?
Yeah. Just one. That's the ingredient. It's amphetamine.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it makes sense because, and I never knew that when I was getting high because I was like, what is it about an opiate that makes me feel like I could fucking move a house and then paint it and then put it on my back and move it up the street, and then if I get a hit of crack, I'm like,
yeah,
maybe it was stuck. I could have been stuck, but also like, it's
but I wouldn't. At the end there, this last run,
that's why I would mix them, and then it would be like,
get
a little bit of both.
Yeah, I hadn't done that in a long time, like an actual speedball or whatever.
Right,
I hadn't done that in years. I didn't have any veins, so it's kind of hard.
You got to save them.
Yeah,
you got to save them for the dope. You can't waste them on the coke.
Right. I wasn't. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, my preferred cocktail for shooting was, and I don't think I've ever talked about this on here. It's a little not glamorizing this, folks. This was my life for years. So it would be, if I had enough money for everything, right?
Yeah.
So it would be a cap of heroin.
Yeah.
Little piece of crack. A little bit of Molly, if I could get it. And then Benadryl.
Liquid Benadryl. That dissolves in water?
All that. With the crack, you had to use vinegar to break it down or something with.
So you had to do that separate
with the acidity. No, I would do it all in one. I would
Okay.
And then I would take liquid Benadryl caps and like with a toenail clipper, cut them off and put it in, because it from what I understood, it opened up your capillaries more and it would kind of hit you as a rush.
Weird.
Even more. And that was
you're way crazier than I am, I think.
But
I don't know if we could be friends.
but the veins went really, really fast once I started. Probably the Benadryl. I doubt that could be good for your vascular system.
Yeah.
But who knows? Was that was where. That's how bad it was, and it was like. I was like a chemist with that shit, and carrying all the stuff around in my backpack so I could go from bathroom to bathroom and get it. That was.
What a horrible existence.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was fucking, and that's what I needed to get through every single day. And I was talking to my friend from work. I won't mention his name because he doesn't like to talk about his, his addiction stuff publicly, but he knows who he is. And he was saying like, my day was like 95% scheming and then 5% like using. even though it was like full blown addiction, but that's what it was for me too, because I was nickel and diming. I know we had talked about this. You at least had a career that you could maintain because you were
somewhat.
Well, because you were maybe even at first because you were running drugs.
Yeah.
You were running drugs with
I always sold drugs. Yeah.
Right. So you were
sold drugs,
and you had a pretty good setup with some cartel stuff, right? Like
they were just as a group. Yeah.
A group. Okay.
Yeah.
So a group that helped you, and you were you didn't even have to physically do it.
I didn't have to do very much.
You were a middleman. If you want to, could you explain that just a little bit?
I was selling, nickel and diming, selling like, it was weed and it was kind of everything, but mainly it was weed. And that was the main product that we were selling in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. And, I was probably moving 10, 20 pounds every couple of weeks. And
without
these guys
physically having to touch it.
No, that was me on my own.
Oh, okay.
That was
so you
me
started
hustling.
Physically.
Yeah, and these dudes kind of saw the grind. You know what I mean? And they saw the hustle, and they were like, "Hey, man, if you want to," and they were really, really plugged in.
Right. So you were living. Is this where you were living?
I was
still
living
on
here.
the border.
No, I was.
Oh no, you were
here,
living here, but your connections were.
I moved here. Yeah, I moved here, and I was going back and forth
from Brownsville.
Yeah.
So you had.
So
you were.
I was going back and forth. Okay. Yeah, and then these dudes saw the hustle,
So it was coming from over the border straight to you, and then you were bringing it here?
Straight to them. And I bought it from them, basically.
Gotcha.
So, and then, anyways, we met these guys that were like really, really plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
And they were getting it from over there. And they had like a whole operation.
Right.
And I said that they said if I ever need anything to reach out. So I reached out and they were like, and I said, hey, well, let me tell you what's going on first. They said, it doesn't matter what's going on. Just get down here.
Okay. They were ready to put you to work.
They were ready to put me to work. Yeah.
Okay.
They said, what do you, so I was like, well, I said, I'm with someone. And they said, have them drop you off. It's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just had this conversation with my partner because we were just down there and I was telling her, I said, oh, what city is this? And it's like a bunch of different little cities in one area. And I said, this looks familiar. And I told her this story. They said, show up. It doesn't matter what's going on. Just show up by yourself.
Okay. So when you said you had something going on, what were you
someone wanted 50 pounds all at once.
Okay.
Gotcha. But they didn't have any money, but they could get the money really quick.
Okay.
And I liked him and I trusted him.
So you needed the product to get to him so he could flip it and then get you the money. Okay.
Yeah. He said, I get you the money in like 2 weeks, a month at the very latest. So he drove me down. He dropped me off at this gas station, fucking middle of nowhere.
Right.
Literally like middle of nowhere. And I called these dudes and they came and picked me up in this fucking hoopty ass, this fucking Lincoln Town Car or some shit. And they take me back to this like property that was like all fenced in and like big, huge wall and in like dirt roads. They had dirt roads, and then there was like a few trailers on this property. There was a house. There was there was a bigger house and then like a smaller house, and then several trailers on the property. And my really good friend lived there that I'd met in Austin that was plugged in with these dudes. That was his boss, ended up being, my boss as well. But he introduced me to these guys and, I mean, I didn't know really what I was getting into. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they like scared the shit out of me and they like, they threatened me and all this stuff. Yeah, testing me. Yeah. And I was like, and my buddy told me, he said, hey man, these guys are okay if you party a little bit, but don't let them know that you use a needle. You know what I mean? Like any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's
like
a liability.
Smoking crack, shooting dope, nothing, because they will end this whole thing now. You know what I mean?
Right.
He said, just chill out on that stuff. So, I told him I told the boss what the deal was, and he was like, all right, he's like, this is all on you, basically. You're, the other dude ended up being my business partner.
Okay.
The dude that lived there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not
yeah.
the dude who dropped you off.
Not the dude that dropped me off. The dude that lived there, who was like my age and kind of ran in the same circles in Austin, but he went back and forth. But he lived there. I went back and forth, but I lived in Austin. So they said, he's vouching for you. So, you have 2 weeks. This is what you have. And I was like, fuck, this dude said 2 weeks to a month. I didn't want to even say anything. You know what I mean? I was like, okay,
you're not going to sit there and negotiate contracts.
Yeah, these dudes had guns and shit. You know what I mean? Like cowboy boots and the belt buckles and everything. You know what I mean? And there I am with like, I don't even know what the fuck I was wearing. You know what I mean? Just imagine,
You're torn up Thrasher shirt.
Something, you know what I mean? Yeah, probably like that, And I mean, these guys have like guns, Yeah. I'm like, what?
And you're miles away from safety.
Chill, you know what I mean? Like,
you guys are killing my vibe.
Yeah, dude. So everything happened. You know what I mean? They packaged everything, and then that dude came pick me up at that same gas station, and
with the 50 pounds on you.
We had him, yeah, and we drove him back, and I was in the car too. I drove him back too. So we get home 3 days later.
Wait, how did that drive feel?
Horrible. I was so high on dope. Hey, I was so high on dope. I'll never forget this. I was so high, and he had this old Scout. Those trucks, those Scout trucks,
right?
And I was so out of it, and I was like leaning against the thing, and he had, it looked like a hunter's vehicle. Okay. You know what I mean? He had the fishing poles. That's what he did. That's what he was doing. He was down there fishing and hunting. Yeah. Outdoorsy, dude.
Was it the kind of thing if you leaned on the?
Boom! I fucking fell out, dude. Luckily, he buckled me in when he saw me nodding out.
Oh shit!
That dude buckled me in, and the fucking door opens, and I almost flew out of the fucking truck, dude.
Wow. So how do you have the stuff packaged in the car for this?
Can I say this on here?
Yeah, please.
So it was you buy 2 ice chests, and you scrape out the inside, the foam out of one, and you scrape out you take them apart, and when you separate them, you have foam in there. So you scrape out the foam from both pieces, but you have to like cut it. You understand?
Yeah.
You have to like cut the plastic. You cut the plastic out of one on the inside. You cut the plastic out of the outside of the other one. You scrape all the foam. Then you buy liquid foam. You stuff it in there. I think that's how we had that one packaged. Maybe we had 2 ice chests or something. Because when we got home, we so we got it up there, no problem. And the dude has the money. He gets the money in 3 days.
Fuck.
So I called these dudes up and I said, "Hey, I'm coming down." They were like, "What's up?" And I said, "Is it everything all right?" And I said, "Yeah, everything's good." I said, "I have all the paperwork."
Wow.
They said, "For real? Are you bullshitting?" And I was like, "No." I said, "I'm on my way."
God damn.
Yeah.
Under promise, over deliver.
Went there, showed up, boom, and they were just like, they said, "All right, someone's going to contact you in about a week." I said, "Okay."
What was your cut percentage wise? Or dollar amount?
That first one, man, it was so long ago. It was pretty good at first. I think it was like $250 per pound.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
$250 per pound times 50.
Times 50.
Holy shit. That's a hell of a come up.
Yeah.
Are you did you feel like you arrived? Like this is your big...
I'm sorry, let me think about this. It was... It was something like that. That 250 was the total amount. And I think me and the dude that I got it for, split that is what it was on that one.
Okay.
So when I showed up, they said, someone's going to be contacting you. We're going to send you something. And I was like, okay, I didn't really ask any questions.
Right.
They said, when they call, be ready with a vehicle to come meet somebody. Sure enough, a week later, I get a phone call. They said, hey, tomorrow around this time, someone's going to call you. You're going to come meet them. And I still wasn't sure, and I didn't want to ask any questions or anything, especially on the phone back then. Remember that in those years, it was like, don't talk on the phone, you know?
Yeah.
That was 200 pounds. And
Wow.
I was like, fuck, what am I going to do with all this? You know what I mean? Because at that time, I was only moving I was selling 10 to 20 every 2 weeks or something like that.
But they're packaging it for you. So you
this was
get
all
it.
packaged and it just showed up, dude.
Okay. So you get it as it's supposed to be delivered. You don't have to do any of that work, like scraping out.
I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do any of that. I never really had to do that.
Right.
I started having to do it later when business really started going well.
Right. Because, I mean, these are professionals. These are people who have the stuff. They're not going to give it to somebody who's just putting it inside, stuffing it inside of a teddy bear and hope.
I mean, we had to tell them to slow down. You know what I mean? Because after the next couple loads, we were like, yo, chill, you know? So it got to where it was every 2 weeks we'd get a shipment, you know?
Mm.
And everything went well, you know? Everything was going great. I had a monster fucking habit.
I gotta imagine.
I had a monster habit, the worst I've ever had in my life. And it just got worse and worse and worse. I would kind of clean up every now and then. I'd get on. I got locked up once or twice, you know? I think I did 6 or 8 months in the county jail, and I had to be extradited somewhere and
to detox.
No, extradited. I had charges somewhere else. You know what I mean?
But are you detoxing in jail then?
Detoxing in jail, yeah, the worst, yeah.
Wow, that's tough.
And I even got on methadone too. I got on methadone a couple times because it was a 5-year run that we did this, and I just I didn't have to worry about money. You know what I mean? I just had money.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, I've seen you
use as much as I wanted.
And I've seen your mugshot pictures. In all of those, you look like you could use a nap.
Yeah.
You look fucking tired.
Yeah. Those are recent. I mean, we're talking
this was way
20
before.
Years ago.
Okay.
You know, now,
okay.
That would be
well, you looked about 30 years.
25, 26, something years ago.
You looked about 20 years older, so it's hard to gauge.
You
look pretty, it's hard to gauge somebody, what age they are when they're that messed up and their eyes are drooping down like this. Because I know some of the pictures that I have when I was using, I look
old.
Like I was in my mid 50s, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was 30.
20.
Yeah.
20.
15.
Yeah.
No, but it's, that's so detoxing in jail, getting back out and going back to this.
Yeah. I mean, I detoxed in jail so many times, you know?
Yeah.
So many times.
What is your detox experience like? Because everybody's different when it comes to what it takes for them to detox. When you have that kind of habit, what was your cold turkey detox like?
Man, this last time, you know, as you get older, you know,
right?
Because I didn't get locked up for years, 10 years. And then I started getting locked up again. I relapsed and I started getting locked up again. I had already been kind of relapsed, but I wasn't committing any crimes or anything really. So, but when I really fell off, I mean, my habit wasn't that bad. Maybe 100, 150, 250 a day.
That's pretty,
it's pretty bad.
That's pretty reasonable.
Bad for someone,
I mean,
but I wasn't doing I was in those days when I was moving all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had a $500-600 habit. I mean,
easily. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
we just load them up and put them in a row. You know what I mean?
To the layman who doesn't know anything about that, and people are like, I thought you had especially with me, I thought you had no money. How were you? Because I would say 250 a day was probably when I was using the most, and I'm talking about these are hiked up prices too
Yeah, yeah.
in South Florida or
Okay.
wherever I was. So $250 a day,
Yeah.
you know, and to somebody, the outsider being like, you're broke, you don't have any money. I'm like, yeah, but I work 3 times harder keeping up this habit than anybody I know keeping up a 9 to 5. And I'm, you know,
Yeah,
boosting
and you don't
and
clock out.
scamming.
Yeah, no,
you never
it's-
clock out.
Yeah. You're working as long as you're awake. You're trying to get money.
I always say it's like having a full-time career that you hate and then going home to a shitty marriage. If you have a home, or going to the public bathroom to have a shitty marriage. So it's just nonstop shittiness. And then, you know, maybe 5% of a little bit of reprieve when you would get it. And then, you know,
Yeah, and then all over
reset.
again. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I kicked over and over again in jail, and it was usually, you know, as soon as you get there, you're good for really, you know, 12 hours, probably 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know, you start feeling kind of shitty after about 6
Yeah.
because you think that's what you need, but really the dope is inside you for a while.
Days, yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, the
you're
half-life
still
is
kind of,
still...
yeah, you're still kind of like, you know,
takes 3 days to really get into that detox. And then after that, how long would it take? A week?
Yeah. Of what?
Oh, detoxing?
I don't know, man. No, I mean, used to be like that, but, you know, getting older, I mean, I started using really young.
Yeah.
So I started using really young, like 14, 15, and probably got my first like really bad habit at like 19, maybe.
Okay.
And even then, I mean, I remember the first time that I kicked, I think it was like 3 to 5 days.
Right. And that was, you were probably getting pretty pure stuff.
You know, and it was like, what the fuck? Like, it was so bad. And I fast forward 20 something years later, you know, and I'm kicking dope in the county jail. And I'm like,
a month goes
you know,
by and you still feel like shit.
I swear, man. Like,
I believe,
you know, this last time that I got locked up, the last time I got locked up, I went in and I don't think it was like it was 2 months before I got like a full night's sleep.
Right.
And I still felt horrible. Like 6 months before I felt like
your faculties
like
are all working
normal
again.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm trying to do my little push-ups and shit in there, you know what I mean? And it's like, man, I just felt weak, you know?
Joseph, my co-host on this, says that anytime he's kicked, and he used like we used, he said 4 days. I'm like, you lucky son of a bitch. But he was a lot younger too when he got clean. But I remember
It used to be like that for me too when I was young. You know?
But I think because I wasn't getting like what you were getting, a lot of mine was the pharmaceutical. So when I was taking oxys, I would be like 28 days of detoxing, and I still was feeling like day 3. Like it was just no sleep. If I would start to fall asleep, I would get this like ping of electricity up my spine, and it would just wake me up, and then I would just start puking and
I've definitely been the always that person in the jailhouse that has vomit on the jumpsuit and fucking shit on your pants, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
It's the truth. That
was bad. It was horrible. Yeah.
And look at you now. No, that really, I mean, seriously, this is what I was getting at with talking about your routine today. And when I say what an amazing accomplishment it is, because having the type of access to the drugs that you had, access to that lifestyle, a career that you could go to work, make decent money, and maintain a habit. You know, I don't know if I would have had any of those things. Like I would have ever gotten clean. Like I probably would have ripped the wrong guy off, gotten killed, because I was a very, very liberal with you know, my discerning who I should rip off and not. Like I really did not put much thought into it after a certain point. You know, I was putting myself in danger was never a you know, didn't mean that much to me. Maybe it was the value that I had on myself at the time too, because man, I know if I would have been put in that situation, I probably wouldn't be here anymore. So,
Right.
you know, coming through to, I mean, and that's just one of, I'm sure, a million stories that you have. That's why I have you coming back here, man. I love hearing your stories and seeing where you are now. And so Carlos and I met only about four years ago. We've been friends for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
I moved here in 2020. And, you know, I never knew you as somebody before. But I mean, I've told this story, I think, the other times you came on is when I moved out here, people like our friend Dylan Jones, who works at No Comply, Pug Wizard, he was just like, man, you should, and he wasn't the only one who had told me this, like, you should meet this guy Carlos, you would like him, you know, he skates, he's vegan, people always assume I'm vegan, but I'm not vegan, but he skates, he's vegan.
You're vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
Yeah. He's Mexican, he's older, so I was like, okay, yeah, and then...
You're Mexican?
Shut up, you know I'm Mexican.
Are you?
Yeah.
I thought you were Puerto Rican.
What? That's not like there's anything wrong with that. No.
Or Cuban or something like that.
No, it's only because I'm from Miami, because I grew up in Miami.
That's why I always assume that. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad for assuming.
You're good. My family, my dad was born in Saltillo.
Okay, that's right. That's right. My bad. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Nobody ever thinks I'm Mexican. Yeah. And it's, you know, in South Florida too, there's not many.
Everybody thinks I'm white too.
Dude, nobody. Really? God. People... You look, I mean, I would always assume that you're Chicano. But, you know, hey, whatever. It doesn't matter. But no, man, we've been friends for about 4 years. And like I said, people would be like, you need to meet this guy. Oh, he's a tattoo artist too. And, that, you know, I run in a circle with a lot of tattoo guys. And turns out we have some mutual friends from way back in the day. But I saw you and I was like, I bet that's Carlos.
That's funny.
I bet that's the dude that they're talking about at House Park one day. And I went up and introduced you.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that. Yeah.
Can we be friends?
Yeah.
And you said, okay.
And then nothing, no friendship, not ever.
I know. Yeah. We still try though.
Yeah, we still try. Yeah. We're trying right now.
But it's an amazing story, man, because you've
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
And
it's crazy. It's fucking I every day I wake up and I have, you know, we live out of town now. We live 25 minute drive, and you know, I'm on my way to work, and it's really easy to get caught up in, you know,
the bullshit,
right? Like, fuck, man, like,
woe is me.
I have to work. I have to fucking do this, and I have to do that, and I'm running late, and you know, there's all these other things that I want to be doing, and you know, and sometimes I'll sit back and I'll think, look at what I'm doing right now instead of what I was 12 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever years ago, you know?
Do you ever do that little simple thing when you need to do, like, when you need to have some gratitude? It's like you take everything that you have and like, I have to, and then change the have to get to. Yeah.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every day I do that.
Yeah. And I mean, your house is sick. I just went to your new house and it's got a little DIY skate bowl in the back, and
it's sick. Yeah, it's rad,
the whole house is sick. That whole piano, table in the middle. Like you, to somebody who didn't know you and just like walked in and saw your life, they were like, "Man, this guy has had his shit together, always."
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time. I always feel like I'm behind. You know?
Do you?
Yes, of course.
How so? What do you think? What else could you have at this point? A jet?
No, I mean,
there was a limousine parked across from your house. I was like, "Oh shit, is that Carlos's limousine? He's really made it."
I'm literally wearing a shirt, this sweatshirt.
Like, what?
From Walmart.
Okay,
literally, I bought this at Walmart.
Okay, you Carlos.
I'm just saying, like, I don't have. I'm saying, like, I feel like my older brother. He's only 2 years older than me. Mm-hmm. He's like ready to retire.
Okay.
Granted, I love my job. I love what I do. I love connecting with people.
Right.
But it's like, you know, you feel yourself getting older and like you want to spend like, yeah, I used to work till 8 and now I want to work till 6.
But you have the luxury to do it.
But I mean, I definitely feel it. You know what I mean? Instead of doing this much work, I'm only doing this much work, you know?
Yeah. But it's a good trade-off. I mean, you get to see your son grow up. You get to see, you know, I know that you've talked about, your daughter, who's, how old is your daughter now?
15.
So your daughter was around young when you were still in active addiction. So there was a lot of things that you missed out on
Yeah.
that, you're making up for now in her life. And
Yeah.
you get to, your son
And experience it again.
experience it
with
again.
Cheyenne,
And
you know?
Cheyenne's a super cool
So-
kid,
Yeah. But yeah, back to, I mean, yeah, it's easy to get caught up in, what you don't have, or, how much time you don't have, and, things that you're missing out on,
Right.
But, when I'm on that 25-minute drive to work, I'm thinking of, man, what a cool drive to be making in my car. That's, my car. It's
Right.
fucking got insurance. You know what I mean? Like, I just left my house. I'm going to a shop, where I love everybody I work with, where my clients are amazing.
Right. It's not like when you
And-
go to work, you're,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
you're not digging
I do
ditches
not want to
or-
be bummed when I get to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm fortunate enough that when I walk into work, it's kind of where I feel like a little bit of relief. You know what I mean?
so even if you're stressing on the way to work, once you walk through the doors, you kind of
yeah,
sets you
it
back
all
into
kind of
reality
goes away.
again.
It's like, man, this is rad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I get to be here, and I get to like provide this service for someone, and I get paid for it, and I get to work with these really talented, amazing people. You know?
Get to be around
From
creative
all over.
people all
You know
the
what I
time.
mean? Like, good music. There's food everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a rad. It's and it's I couldn't imagine what I can't even imagine the life that I was in. It's hard to imagine that.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times, I don't know about you, but in recovery, it's like I always feel this want to be of service to people and to give back as much as I can. You know what I mean? And I always feel like I'm lacking there, and I don't know that that would ever go away,
Yeah, I get selfish sometimes, and
You know?
it's like it seems like I always get the opportunity put in front of me whenever I'm in like full selfish mode
Mm-hmm.
to really help somebody out who is where I used to be in one way or another, and it always levels me out in my head and in my heart. You know what I mean? Because I get caught up in the bullshit too. And I'm like, I don't like working from home because the dogs bother me. And then bullshit,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, me and my girlfriend, one of our cars broken now. So we're sharing a car and and we moved into this new house. We're not even unpacked yet. No, you just got to be like, then I'll get the opportunity to help somebody who is sick and suffering or just, whatever it is. And then I was like, I get to just be like, holy shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never going to stop. I'm always going to get in my head about stuff on a day-to-day thing because you don't always have the time to think about, well, look where I was for me 8 years ago and look where I am now. Like, I don't always have the time to do that. But once it's presented to me as a reminder, like, listen, man, if you're not grateful, like, what do they say? Like, anything that you put for your recovery, you're going to lose it. And I feel like that a lot because I put a lot in front of my recovery because life happens, buying a house and moving forward in career and doing cool shit.
I just tattooed someone in Berlin, and the dude reached
That's
out
a
to
flex.
me. The dude reached out while I was in London, and he was like, "Hey, do you have any more time while you're in London?" I said, "Dude, I'm fully booked. I'm sorry, I said I'll be back next year." And he's just like, we're just communicating via email, and he's like, "Well, where are you headed to next?" And I was like, "I'm headed to Berlin." And he goes, "Do you have any time there?" And I said, "Dude, what's your deal?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you
Right.
coming from?
Right.
What's your
You trying to start a relationship?
Yeah, are you trying to hook up? Because I'm down, And he's like, "Man, honestly, I found your page and I started stalking you. and I saw you're in recovery. I love your work, and I would love to have a tattoo from someone, with your talent,
Right,
I really want something from you. I saw this thing that I really like. And the fact that you're in recovery, it's just like really rad, and like a family guy and all this stuff. And I was like, sweet. I said, where are you at? He said, I'm in Ireland. He's like, it's an hour flight. We do this all the time.
Yeah.
It's different over there, right?
Right,
it's a little different, So I was like, sweet. Anyways, probably the best experience that I had the whole time that I was gone for a month, and tattooing him was one of the best moments. Just, he had so much, we just had so much in common,
right.
And all that to say, he said something to me. We were talking about what we were talking about, how, we're lacking in, our meeting attendance,
Right.
And he said, I forget who he said told him, but he said, it's like that saying that you're too busy doing the stuff that sobriety gave you to do the thing that got you sober.
Right. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have any of this. We wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be driving the car. I wouldn't be having this house, that family. You know what I mean? The relationship, any relationship, everything that I have today is because I made the decision. You know what I mean? And I opened up the book, and I went to the meeting, and I sat down, I got a sponsor, and I did the work. You know what I mean? And it all like unraveled.
Right.
And like my life has gotten better and better every single time. I think when I got out, are we almost out of time?
Don't.
When I got out, I was gone for a year, which, isn't much, but, I had to start all over again, and when I got out, I'd lived, luckily enough, I had friends that had a shop and, house in Dallas, and I didn't have to go to a halfway house. The first time I got locked up, I had to go to a halfway house after I got out because I didn't have anywhere to go. It's pretty toxic, those environment, not a rehab,
actual out of prison halfway
house, So it's like, you got a bunch of thugs in there, you know what I mean? Everybody wants to do what they want to, you know what I mean? It's like,
still got the prison mentality, but
right. And everybody's still doing, like, not everybody's in recovery,
right.
Very, very few people are in recovery. So I got to go to my friend's house and work at his shop. And, I was like sharing a room with this kid, and I was like so happy to be out and not be, I could shower by myself. You know what I mean? I have to shower with, I didn't have to shower with my fucking homeboys anymore.
Right.
I didn't have to, I got to sleep like in a real bed, and their little kid that I shared the room with always slept with them. But every once in a while he'd come in and, fuck with me, and, few months go by or whatever. My buddy has a room open up in his house. I get my own room. And I was like, fuck, this is sick. I'm not sharing the room with the kid anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had, 20 dogs in that house. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was kind of chaos. They had like 3 kids, sometimes 4,
right.
And so, and then from there, like few months go by, and I see a apartment come up. I stopped in to check it out. And I was like, this is rad. I got my own pad. You know what I mean? And so like every, few months, and then fast forward, right? Like a year, and I got to move back to Austin.
Right.
And I got to, I moved into my own little efficiency, and a little efficiency apartment, and I got a killer deal, and, and everything was rad. And I was like so happy to be home. It's like, a couple miles from my daughter's house, I got to see her all the time. And then, fast forward a couple other years, and then we got a house, and then fast forward another couple years, you know what I mean? All the while I'm doing the work, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's like, and I'm talking about something that's it sounds like it's materialistic, but it's like, that's what my life was doing for me. You know what I mean? And it was making me busier, and it was making me, like being in recovery and learning how to build relationships and how to treat people,
Yeah. I man.
And it's like, I'm sure the same thing has happened for you. You know what I mean? It's like your life has completely changed, and your life has continued to get better and better as a result of working the steps.
Absolutely.
Or the result of being sober. You know what I mean? Like, and the steps that you've taken to get to where you are today, it's like leaps and bounds. You know what I mean? If you look at where you started and where you are now.
Couldn't even imagine this. Where I'm at now. Not even like in my wildest dreams. None of what I'm living today would have even.
If someone told you when you were in the depths of your addiction, that they said, Jason, how much time do you have?
7.5 years.
In 7.5 years, you're going to be sitting having a podcast at this treatment center. You're like,
any of it. Yeah, any of it. I'd have a driver's license.
With his girlfriend, you know what I mean? You're going to have a car.
Owning a house, any of it. No, it would have been completely unfathomable. Any of it. Yeah. And it's kind of funny, and maybe you share this, maybe you don't, but it seems like those little leaps meant more than some of the stuff that happens now. Like getting my first room, renting it at somebody's house, moving out of halfway. Like getting my first job.
Yeah, you were like, yes.
Getting my second job that was better than the first job, and being able to go to the first job and be like, hey, listen, I really thank you for this opportunity. I'll give you how much ever time you need to fill this in, but I have another opportunity now that I'm going to go. Like those little things maybe stand out more than like the things that I'm doing now that I couldn't even imagine back then.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's being ungrateful or it's just like, now this is what life is. Like things move and I'm going in an upward trajectory now.
Right. Now it's like you understand that this is just what's supposed to happen as long as you're doing this other thing. You know what I mean? As long as you do this other thing.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
Then then there's nothing that's untangible, like nothing that you can't touch. You know what I mean? You're going to do anything you want to do.
Exactly. Because it's like, I always say this, especially if I'm speaking in an H&I to people that are still in treatment. I'm like, all these things that I have right now are the result of hard work. But the miracle happened the day that I asked for help and accepted it. Everything else was just because I worked. But the miracle was the day that I said, like, I really want to do this and I don't know how to do it myself.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks, for no, I'm just kidding. But no, it is. It's incredible, and it's humbling when you get to actually. And I'm glad that we had this time today.
Where it does, dude. It does need to be a pep rally. You know what I mean?
It does.
Or what do you call it?
A pep rally, yeah.
Pepper or pep?
It's a pepper.
Okay, a pepper rally.
Pepper rally.
Pepper rally.
Are you getting hungry?
But you know what I mean? Like your recovery should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important for people to see what life has to offer. You know what I mean? Because for the longest time, like I thought in my mind that that's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's all that life was going to give me. You know what I mean? Like that's all I could get out of life was I was going to be a dope fiend or I was going to be locked up or I'd be dead. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully, if I could just die, that'd be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't have the balls to pull the trigger on myself, but if I just happen to take a little bit too much, but it never seemed to be enough, Yeah. But
it's like for the person that doesn't know, right? For the person that doesn't know that's stuck in there or they're stuck in limbo, you know what I mean? They want to get well, but they don't know that it's possible.
Right. And that's why I think, because a lot, I get some shit from some people that I know from like the 12-step rooms. It's like, when you go on this podcast, you talk a lot about the drugs and a lot about the using and a lot about this stuff. And
we brought it back pretty good.
What's that?
We brought it back.
We did bring it back, but this is what I'm saying. We did. And,
I had to kind of pull you out.
Thank you for, and I'm supposed to be the broadcaster here. But the reason I do it is to show people who might be A, in it themselves, B, have somebody they love who they think is so far gone.
Yeah.
To say like, because when I would go to meetings early on or have an H&I, somebody come in to an H&I, somebody with 2 years clean, 3 years clean was completely unfathomable to me. Like I didn't understand
fucking
a year
snitches,
clean.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're fucking
exactly.
snitch.
Who
Yeah.
are they working for? What
That's what I used to think.
So
I was like, oh, this
never
motherfucker
thought,
doesn't know shit.
I think it's, obviously this isn't a 12-step meeting or anything affiliated with any 12-step group, because when I'm in those rooms, I keep, I keep it by the book and refrain from talking about certain things or, but when it comes to showing people that people do fucking recover, people who are probably maybe should still be locked up, maybe not, maybe definitely should be dead,
Dude, I tell everybody the stories. Anybody that sits in my chair, anybody that sits in my chair,
you come for the tattoos, you stay for the stories, whether you want them or not.
Yeah, they're going to get it as soon as I get a chance. You know what I mean?
You can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I definitely know how to read the room.
Right.
Been doing this a while,
Yeah.
And, if it seems like, whatever, or they ask a question or something like that. Man,
like, hey, what time do you guys close? Oh, that reminds me of the time that I was running drugs at the border.
Yeah. But I tell people and these little stories, or people that I work with that hear me tell these stories, or they're curious too, and they ask, and they're like, man, I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine, I cannot imagine you doing any of these horrible things, these crazy things. Like, I am so normal now,
Right.
I'm so, like down to earth and like a kind and loving person. You know what I mean?
Very
like,
kind. Yeah.
Like I strive to be like kind and loving towards all. You know what I mean? And I learned this in the program, you know what I mean? In getting sober and like learning who I'm supposed to be.
I think that's another reason that, I got along with you and respected you like right off the rip, because the way you talk to people is the way you talk to people. It doesn't matter who they are. Like, I've seen you talk to people, homeless people at the park, or people who are like your best friends or business associates, and like you talk to people eye level, and that's a huge thing, because you see a lot of people who say walk the walk but don't necessarily talk the talk, like people who you'll see in the rooms and preaching fire and brimstone and help out the newcomer, and then after the meeting they're chit-chatting with their friends, and then you see the guy who's kind of nervous and you could tell wants to be part of the conversation and maybe comes up and says hi, and they're just kind of like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
But why am I paying attention to that? I should just go up and
snatch him up.
Yeah.
Snatch him up.
Exactly.
Snatch up that newcomer. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell I need to hit some meetings, man. Maybe we'll hit a meeting together this week, but
let's do it.
We're running out of time here. That was awesome. I appreciate you being here. But you know how we end this. You know how we do it.
I don't want to do it.
You have to.
I don't want to.
It's rapid fire question time.
Rapid fire question time.
I'm shutting down.
All right. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask you anyway. And you could plead the fifth on these. I know you're not a snitch. First question. Paranormal experience. UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, any of it?
No.
None of it?
No.
God, I don't think I've experienced. I'm starting to think maybe that I'm just chasing a dream here, because I haven't had anybody tell me a good one yet. All right. So Cheyenne's talking, right?
Yeah.
What is the wisest thing you've heard him say?
Oh my God.
Or funniest question he's ever asked you?
He said, Daddy, Mommy has a big booty. That was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I have it on videotape.
Nice.
I'll show you.
All right. So you've been vegan for how long?
Almost as long as I've been sober.
Okay.
Yeah, like 11. It's maybe like 11 years. Yeah, I've been sober 11 and a half or 11 and something.
So we could put this either, because I know a lot of people who are vegan would say they'd never go back. But if you had one meal that you could go back and have, or if they could replicate it perfectly vegan, what would it be? What's the thing that you miss the most?
You know what barbacoa is?
Yeah.
Barbacoa?
Explain. I just lied. I don't know what it is.
You don't? Okay, barbacoa is it's like traditional like Mexican food that we grew up eating. It was, I think they boil the head of a cow.
Mhm.
It sounds so, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit.
I've seen it at a wedding.
And it like makes
Get
it
the eyeball
very
and
like
tender.
tender. And then, but like you always, like there's places that you could go to, like drive-throughs to get it. And it's just a very like familiar smell, or like, like a texture that's very unique, you know what I mean? It's that, and, I haven't seen it done I haven't seen it made very good vegan.
Right. Okay.
But
that's a good one.
I have no desire to eat any meat.
I know you don't.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I have.
They could replicate it.
Yeah. But like, I'm not like, oh my God, I wish I could, I wish I could eat bacon or something. You know what I mean? Like, or I wish I could do this, you know what I mean? Like, or eat whatever, Oh, I wish I could smoke crack.
If they made vegan crack, that'd be sick.
Come on, if they made non-drug, non-habit forming heroin.
Maybe one day AI can figure it out.
But yeah, it's the same way I feel about drugs. You know what I mean? Like I don't care.
Gotcha. So last nice thing that you did for yourself.
The last nice thing I did for myself. Fuck, what did I do? I just did something recently. I can't remember. I just did something. Like I took a day off and
just chilled.
I went and got a massage, and you know what I mean? Literally like full on self-care.
That's awesome.
I had like a self-care
That's
day.
great. Little pamper yourself day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Kat will make me do that sometimes. She's like, you need to go and do something.
That's a good partner right there, when it's like, listen, you don't have to take me, you don't have to do this, you need this for yourself.
Yeah.
You probably had a temper tantrum or something.
I tried. I tried just like next week's my birthday. And she said, oh, I booked you a facial with a friend of ours, is like this awesome facialist person, whatever, or what do you call him?
Cosmetologist? Skincare. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but
they do everything.
Dermatologist?
All that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The skin, they do the facial, they put some fucking mask on you, ultraviolet fucking rays.
Right.
And, they touch you. And
did you come out looking like a new person?
Hey, but she's like really badass, and she's in Houston.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. And she said, I booked you a facial with our friend Abby. And I was like, cool. I told her this morning, I said, she goes, what kind of hotel do you want to stay?
Four Seasons?
Yeah, because she's like, I can't afford the hotel that you want to stay in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Would have been the Four Seasons?
Not the Four Seasons, but like I definitely
Ritz.
like to stay at really nice hotels.
Yeah.
I want it to be better than my house.
Yeah. No, I get it. Listen, I used to love roadside motels, but then after that gig I had when I was able to stay at like the super nice hotels,
dude,
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back. Okay, last question, rapid fire. You always talk about working out. You always talk about your exercise routine, but you wear super baggy clothes. What are you trying to hide that people want to know?
What?
A killer bod or what?
Baggy clothes, do I?
You always look at you. Look at you're in the yard. Are you?
I have body dysmorphia.
Do you? Okay.
Yes.
All right then.
Yeah, I feel like anything else like shows too much like flab, or you know what I mean? Yeah, like I'm super self-conscious or whatever you call it,
Well, that just took a sad turn.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to...
Thanks a lot, dude.
I thought you were just going to say that you're humble.
Yeah.
Let's say that you're humble. I'll edit it out. You're humble. You got a killer rock hard bod, and you're just a humble man. All right. last words of wisdom that you'd like to say to anybody out there? Maybe somebody who's still struggling, anything you want to say. Floor's yours.
I would say that stress. I would stress that how important it is that if you're struggling, that like it's all going to start to happen when you ask for help. You know, that's the first step in anything, right? Whether you're mentally ill or just in a bad place,
Right.
you know, and you'd be like so surprised how fast people want to help you, you know?
Yeah.
I would do anything,
Yeah,
literally.
I know.
You know what I mean? If someone emailed me or DM'd me or fucking came up to me at the skate park or at a restaurant, whatever,
Right.
and said, "Hey man, I am struggling. I'm thinking about taking my life, or I can't stop fucking using. What do I need to do?"
It's a responsibility now.
Man, I would, yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think that people are scared to do that because they don't know what people's reaction is going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whether it's someone in recovery or not, or someone that's been through it, you'd be surprised what people can do and what people will do.
Copy that.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate it. Thank you for coming once again. Third time's a charm. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching, for listening, and like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And
What's that for?
those for that guy. Like, follow, subscribe.
Okay.
You get to the
Like
ding,
YouTube.
ding, dings, YouTubes,
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just something that we're programmed to say at this point.
Okay.
So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time. And we'll have Carlos back on again soon.